Alright boys, how we doing?
Something.
Shut up, man. Leave me alone.
I know. I remember a podcast last year where we were looking forward to these moments where we could get torn in about Hearts and tactical changes and Robbie Nielsen and bed sheets and everything, but it's actually quite disappointing. But you got to take the rough with the smooth, don't you? Let's be objective.
Absolutely.
Let's look forward. Let's be positive. That's why Tam's not here, because he's a wee fanny. And
Well,
he's too busy celebrating the Livy win as well, wasn't he?
well, I don't know. Like, on one hand, Tam will tell you he's deathly ill, but on the other hand, I know for a fact that he's away in his safe space with his emotional support Teddy.
We on Saturday, Tam is like a yo-yo way his opinions. It's hilarious. At one point, Alan Forrest fired a cross in, and he went, "What a ball, Forrest," or whatever. It went straight out of play, and I was like, "What game are you watching?" He's like, "That was shite." I was like, "What was it?" I mean, less than 3 seconds ago, you said that was a great ball in. Now you're saying it was a shite ball in. We were 7 minutes into the Kelly game at Tynecastle, and he went, "See, this is why we missed Liam Boyce." Because the ball went out for a by kick for a long punt up the park. And I was like, Liam Boyce, that's 5'8" and never wins either's. Aye, good point. I was like, stick to an opinion. I was like, just stick to one just because you're challenged.
I can't sit in between yous two again. That was stressful on Saturday. We get Corbett on my right side, Tam on my left side, and I'm going, nah, man, I don't want to be Switzerland anymore. I was like, I'm quite prepared to let Corbett run over and batter the fuck out of Tam.
So that's why Tam's not here. He's too ill. He's had 2 roastings off me for 180 minutes. So that's where we are. And Shanks hasn't come back for Livy yet. So how we're going to manage Riga in a week's time, God knows. But we'll just have to get on with it. Brads, what's been happening?
Not much, mate. I'm still fairly disappointed for Saturday. So hopefully Thursday will just make me more fucking miserable.
Very much so. Because I remember sitting and we were talking after like the opening 15 minutes saying, here, we're actually playing quite well. Gary McKay Stevens having a great game. And how wrong were we? How wrong were we?
Well, we'll get into it. I think we jinxed him. That was all his season's talent wasted in all that 15 minutes.
Aye. I like when we joked and we called him Stephen Humpty because he volleyed the ball at the stadium and then for 90 other minutes was absolutely Humpty, but we'll come to that later. Kev, what's been happening?
Not a great deal. Still, as Brad said, disappointed by the display on Saturday, but we go again.
All right, is that Stephen Gerrard say that? No bother, Kev.
Is that what he said?
You're on the Heart and Hand podcast again.
Is that what that's called?
And all right, no bother, Kev. Ando, what's been happening?
Nothing usual. Travelled up to go out with you fine gents on Saturday, and I did say in the group chat when I was sat on the train with my bag of cans, I think I said, and I quote, "The only thing that could ruin this day is Hearts," and that proved absolutely be the case. And then straight out of that, and as you can see from my lovely decor behind it, on the road for work. So it's going to be an absolute shit fest getting back up to Edinburgh for Thursday, but I'm still going to do it because that's the kind of good.
Aye. I like, speaking of Shanks, I liked when we were in the pub and I didn't know if he was being funny or having part, but when he started telling folk to stop singing, when he turned into like a part-time bouncer, and I was like, what are you doing? And he came back to our table and started singing.
You might have missed that. The lassie or the manageress or whatever for what used to be Chicago Rock and Livy, fuck knows what it's called now, had told that specky tube doorman, like, you need to tell all the guys to stop singing, and that he came out, had a wee word in Shanks here and says, right, well, you guys need to stop singing. And then of course Shanks ran with it, and then just fucking started singing himself because he's that much of a belly end. That was good value.
He had a belter as well with some of the songs, but we'll leave that. We'll leave that for a day when they can defend themselves.
See, the thing is, right, so just for everybody else's benefit, Shanks wasn't sat next to us in the ground, right? But you could tell where he was within the ground because all you can hear is out of nowhere that Kujabi song coming out of absolutely nowhere. Exactly. The only one he knows that he started away off in some obscure corner of the stadium. Like, that's it. Shanks is out there. Typical.
Stay clear.
Bertie B's my personal favourite. Bertie B. And I love when he sings Betty B. It always gets me. Always makes me chuckle. Anyway. Welcome back to This Is My Story, your unofficial Hearts podcast. As we say every week, all our opinions are our own and always miles off it. Today, we'll go through. Brad's got a tam down, Kev has got 1.5, 4 and in, worst keeper, catchy, whatever you want to call it. We'll go through some of the headlines of the week, talk about the activity or lack of on deadline day, and then obviously one signing after the deadline day. I'm going to fucking repent my sins, but we're going to have to talk about Craig Gordon and Barry McKay because I'm not going to rant, but I want to talk about them. And then we just have to talk about our pretty worrying form, if we're being honest with you. How do we turn it round with Europe and balancing the squad rotations we've already seen in Wednesday against Kilmarnock and again on Saturday? I just don't think we get the squad to play 2 different 11s every 4 days. We'll review Kelly and Livingston. They're the exact same game, the exact same patterns, everything that happened. It's a repeat for Wednesday, so we'll be able to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. And then we'll preview Istanbul Bawsackhair on Thursday. And then I think we
show
play
name
St Mirren
already.
at Tynecastle. Aye, exactly. And then we play St Mirren on Saturday, so we'll fire through it. Anything else, boys? Let's wait for let's leave the doom and gloom for later. Let's have a tam down just now. Let's have a wee quiz. Brad's over to you.
Yeah. Well, I'll cheer you all up. Memorable nights at
Oh
Almondvale.
yeah.
So I have gone for Livingston 5, Hearts 0 on the 14th of December 2018.
Started off such a good day as well.
Fun night. It was, eh? And then 3 p.m. happened, and then it was all fucking downhill for there.
Well, 7:45. Aye.
It was a night.
It was,
I think so. Aye. Under the Tony Macaroni floodlights. Anyway, we'll go around the boards. You've got how many subs as well? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 subs. So you've got 18 in total. Right, Kev, you're first on my screen.
Start at the back then. Bobby Zawal.
Was one of the worst games I've ever seen a goalkeeper play in my life. Correct. Ando, you're next.
Lafferty.
No. There you go.
I'm getting the
Corbs.
obscure ones out of the way, and I only remember because I'm pretty sure he hit the inside of the post at 0-0. Demi Mitchell.
He is in the starting lineup, and he was playing a winger, I'm sure, instead of left back.
He cut inside and hit the inside of the post at 0-0.
Aye, that was fairly positive, eh? Kev, back to you.
Just because I hate him. Better.
Stuff better was there. Captain Ballbag. Right, speaking of Ballbags, Ando.
Shut your dirty whore face. Michael Smith.
Mickey Smith is playing. Corbs.
My dad and your dad, Aaron Hughes.
I was going to say, I've left notes in there. He looks 64 at the time. I've just checked, he's only like 32 or 34.
He came on for literally 10 minutes. I think we conceded 4 goals in the 10 minutes he was on the park, wasn't he?
Aye, that's true. Kev, back to you.
Jim.
I know Jim got sent off. Ando.
Don't know, wasn't there? Can't remember. Nicholson. Oh no, he'd have been away.
No, he left about 5 years before that.
Aye. What year was this?
2018.
2019, did you say? 2018.
Oh. Corbett.
Jamie Brandon.
No, Jamie Brandon feature.
Mm.
Kev.
Well,
it feels like a game you should have featured in.
It feels like him game, doesn't it?
Definitely does. Corbett's favourite man, Cowie.
You were going to go down that route.
No, Don Cowie wasn't there.
Was he no? Bollocks.
Nah. Oof, I thought we would have absolutely smoked this. Ando.
Tried to forget it.
Chapman. I genuinely can't think.
Right, I'll fire you some clues then.
Right.
Signed this. We can go.
No,
There's still plenty of names.
I
Right, go
don't
for it
mean
then, Corbett. You jump in.
Right, so Bobby's out, Berra.
Smith.
If Aaron Hughes came on and Mikey Smith, it meant somebody else would be playing alongside Berra. 2018, who was pure shite that played for us then. It was a 2018 a Connor Randall season, was he? Did he play for Hearts, no?
No, it wasn't Conor Randall. Who's the other centre back? Super agent now.
Super agent.
He's now
Jackie
he's
McNamara.
now a big time agent.
Alan Preston.
Jackie McNamara. That's how much I've blurred that game out of my mind. Did Stephen Naismith play?
No.
Peter Haring.
Peter Haring did play.
We're just taking guessing.
I can give you some clues.
Dickamona.
Dickamona was the other centre back.
Fuck.
Are you chapping still?
Aye, man.
Kev, are you chapping?
No.
Ollie Lee.
Ollie Lee was a sub. Game on.
Another player that Corbett hates. Steve McLean.
Steve McLean was our starting striker.
Mm-hmm.
That's the fact stayed on the whole game.
How many more starting 11 do we have?
3, sorry.
So Mike Smith would have been right back. So we need a left back.
You do need a left back.
2018. Not
If
with.
you're looking for.
Aye.
Going by your fuck. Garuccio.
It's Garuccio.
It was either him or the Irish boy. Can't remember what his name either was.
Did Ollie Bozanic play? Or was he?
Ollie
Did he
Bozanic
come?
did play.
Hmm.
Yeah. So you got one left.
Right, so I'm assuming that he wasn't a winger then.
Wait, he kind of does. He plays like in a front three now.
What does he?
Front three.
Was he a young guy?
Yes.
Did Ross Callahan play? I've already said that.
Nope. Wasn't Ross Callahan.
Right, a young guy. Cal Morrison.
It's Cal Morrison. That's your starting 11 finished.
Right,
Well,
now for
starting
the
11, by the way.
bench. Now bench
Yeah.
just absolute stabs in the dark. Is it mainly young folk?
I'll
No,
take one
it's
based on
experienced.
the
Right, go then.
names based on the names that you have said. I'm probably well wrong. Whiteton.
Craig Whiteton was on the bench. And my wee clue was him. We signed him over Shankland.
Aye,
There
that
you go.
was very, very true.
Backup
Novak.
goalkeeper.
Novak. Well, obviously he's not a goalkeeper. Backup goalkeeper.
Hamilton.
Backup goalkeeper. Nope.
No, no chance to check Hamilton.
Back up to
Fucking
Bobby's man.
Colin Doyle.
Aye, the Irish boy.
Nope.
I think he'd been there at the time. Sean Clare.
Sean Clare. Yep. 2 more
Ollie Lee.
unused subs.
I said Ollie Lee.
Who said Ollie Lee? Your first clue is AirPods.
Oh, Jake Mulroney.
Mulroney.
Jake Mulroney. And my last clue is we Premier League shagger.
Oh, Hickey.
And Hickey. There we go. That was the night that we
How
tried to
fucking
forget.
annoying is that Hickey didn't play for at least another 5 months after that game?
It's
Needed
mental
5
think
months
it.
to fucking recover.
I'll never. The lowest. I didn't care. I was only a couple of months old, so I can't talk about fucking the date that shall not be mentioned in '86. But I'm telling you, watching Livingston tweet saying every tweet's a goal is the lowest point of my ever watching Heart of Midlothian Football Club. That fucking tin pot outfit roasting us. Shambles.
I think I got it tight off of my mates for about 3-4 weeks straight after that. Like everybody was just coming out the closet to just fucking smash you,
Right.
and rightly so. But I'm glad you all forgot about that, and I've brought it back.
And you
to
brought
your
it back up,
memories.
mate. Aye,
There you go.
that's true, mate. Aye. That's true. I did actually. I
Enjoy
did
that
get
one.
triggered by a Livingston fan on Twitter yesterday, which made me dig some stats out, because if he had said any other player that played for Livingston on Saturday, I would have said, fine, you just have to take it. But to pick Omiyonga out of all of the Livingston midfielders that have played, he was the worst of them. If he said Scott Pittman, as I said, fine. He absolutely bossed it. Jason Holt, absolutely bossed it. But Andy Halliday, George Grant, and Cammy Devlin all had more effective games by stats, made more passes, more interceptions, won more challenges, all that sort of stuff, more than Omiyonga. But the boy only said it because he tried to make it out like he said every time he touched the ball, he got booed. And I thought, what? Why would he get booed? So then I googled it and realised because he played with Hibs like fucking 3.5 years ago, and he played about 12 games or something. I was like, aye, no bother. Fucking, we didn't even fucking know who he was called. So anyway, there we go. There's my rant about fucking Livingston. Fuck them. Right. Let's categorically put that down to another win for Corbett. Kev, let's get your keys 4-1 then. Talk us through what it is again.
No worries, nice and simple. 4 words in regards to existing or ex-Hearts player. Today's we've got 2 for this episode. So we've got birthday, 4, Cruikshank tribute, Slovak. So that's your for the first one. And the second one is Cochrane, academic, original caviar, and 69. I just love the face that you fucking pull on this.
Are you having a stroke or something? Birthday Slovak. What? What was the other one? Birthday Slovak.
So birthday 4 Slovak.
And Cruikshank tribute.
Cruikshank said, not our Cruikshank.
So that was the first one, and the second one was Cochrane, academic, original caviar, and 69.
A mechanic, caviar, 69, birthday.
The year Kev was born. I don't know what the fuck was going on there.
69 caviar.
Academic.
A mechanic.
Academic.
Like 69 and caviar is just what Kevin and his missus get up to on a Saturday. That's fucking like, hey, I've got no idea. Not a fucking
right,
clue.
What was the last one?
Cochrane.
Academic, 69 caviar, and a Cochrane.
Cochrane, yep. Was a Saturday night.
I don't know, Kev. I don't fucking know.
Gonna get him.
I was looking forward to that.
It's better than my watch this on separate couches anyway.
Right. If you want doom and gloom, now's the time. Anybody that wants to remain positive for the rest of the week, looking forward to Thursday. It was good talking to you, and we'll see you again next week. Gorgon rules. Right, headlines. Let's get into it first. Stephen Humphreys, deadline day transfer. Striker on loan from Wigan. Then obviously transfer window shut, and then the next day we announced that we'd signed Xander Clark in as a backup goalkeeper as well, who was unattached. So we'll start with the positive first. Brad, Xander Clark, to be having a goalkeeper of that stature and magnitude as the number 2 is superb business, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. He's like a fantastic asset, and I think obviously what everybody's been saying, he'll be probably our new number 1 next year, if not the season after. And it's about building going forward, and he's honestly, he'll be fantastic. And I know we're going to go on and speak about Gordon, but certainly he needs that push as well. He needs to have that pressure there for somebody who's equally could be playing week in, week out for Hearts. So I'm looking forward to this signing.
And Ando, I've been thinking about this. I actually think that they've brought Clark in so that Gordon can completely drop out. I still think Stewart will be the backup goalkeeper, but I think they'll rotate having Clark as number 1 and Gordon completely out the squad because he's 39 now or whatever. He's a father. He'll be Thursday, Sunday training, rest days, etc. It's probably, if he is looking to play for another year, 2 years, then he needs a break completely. So I actually think that Clark will come in to be the second number 1 rather than the backup goalkeeper. If you know what I mean, I think Ross Stewart will continue to get splinters on his arse.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think if you look at what happened along the road at Rangers, I'm sure they'd done that with the whole John McLaughlin and
Alan McGregor.
Aye, that's it. Flown right out of my head. Exactly that. If we're going to get any sort of continued longevity out of Craig Gordon, then yeah, totally agree. You can sort of just like mix them up. But I think we should probably just sack that cheesy because he is fucking terrible. I know, but like Kevin and I spoke about this, not to go down a rabbit hole, but we spoke about this on Saturday in the pub, which is we all applauded him for just being at standard. That's just a sad indictment of how pish he actually is. So get him to fuck. It's one of those ones that, yeah, Xander Clark, I would take him as the number 2, but yeah, I think you're probably right in the sense that it will be like a phased in, phased out number 1 position that he's holding. So that's fair enough. But again, as I said in the group chat to you boys, I find it hard to get excited about a keeper that I don't think in the short term will play a lot for us. I think we had more pressing, urgent business to take care of, and we didn't do it. But again, we'll probably cover that later.
Well, aye, but then to be relative, to go back to the Tam down there, we've went from Bobby Zamal, Colin Doyle, Joe Pereira, Jack Hamilton to now having Scotland's number 1 and Scotland's number 2 as our goalkeepers. So in that sense, it's pretty decent business. Kev, Stephen Humphreys comes in Thursday, does press Friday, maybe a light session with the team, and then is chucked completely and utterly under the bus by, I don't know if it's Robbie trying to make a point, if they had seen enough of him or decided that let's put him up front by himself in the league's probably most notorious away venue on the league's shittest park, playing up against the 2 biggest centre halves in the league, and will shell long balls at him all game.
I think that's exactly what it was. Just having a big guy up front. Let's get him and just punt balls at him and see what happens. To me, it looked like we didn't even have an actual game plan as such on Saturday, other than let's get the ball up to him. It's like we didn't want to play through the middle, not all the time, but on a lot of occasions. I felt a wee bit sorry for the guy. He's never played with half of these players before. Doesn't know about certain runs to make or whatever. So that that continuity is not yet there. It might come, but there wasn't really enough on show on Saturday for me to say, yeah, we've maybe pulled a little diamond out of the rough.
Aye, Brad, it's a fact. You can't judge him on that game. It was an absolute thankless suicide mission, wasn't it, on Saturday for him?
Nah, I made the point, like I think we're talking to folk about this after the game as well. Even if he was, and we've made this criticism all the time, even if he was to win a header against those boys who are about 9 foot tall, McKay, GMS were so far off the pace, it would have mattered. It would have made not one jot of difference if he'd won a header or not. This long ball doesn't work unless you've got a second striker running in. That long ball needs to be to the number 10 to knock on. Then you play from there. There is absolutely no point playing it to him. He would have been coming up here going, what the fuck was that? Playing on an AstroTurf pitch, getting shelled long balls at, and can't do anything with it.
And there's a difference for playing long balls into channels what an Ellis Sims or a Humphreys can chase and run onto are totally and utterly different for what was Saturday, which were out balls because we couldn't deal with the press, which are just hopeful punts up the park. Like I said, the amount of times we turned over play needlessly. Like, again, we're going to talk about Craig Gordon in a wee second. The amount of times I watch Craig Gordon catch the ball, run as quickly as he possibly can to the edge of the box, and then aimlessly punt it up the park. And I think, stop for a second and look who you've just ran past. You've had to run past Barry McKay. You've had to move Gino out the way. You've had to get past every single one of our attacking players to launch the ball forward. We bring every single player back for corners. Who are you kicking the body? Who are you kicking it to? There's nobody there. There's no one up the park.
Fair.
And even if there is, who are they winning the headers to? I felt sorry for him. Like, I don't think he had a great game, but then who would? Like, I thought we chucked him completely and utterly under the bus. And there was two things that really, really, really pissed me off on Saturday. One, we all have played football at whatever levels, right? We'll have come up all laughing and joking about the old Tony Adams in a line, hand up, offside, everybody be together, fucking tie a rope round us, Daniel Stendhal, everybody have a rope, play the high line properly. That stuff takes pre-seasons, training sessions, analysis. It takes proper structured training to be able to time it with the ball going in and everybody standing and taking a step forward, playing the whole Livingston backline offside. And we've said to a guy that signed Thursday night, would have probably travelled up Thursday, did a light session on Friday, chucked in at the deep end on Saturday saying, by the way, we play a high line here. We want you to mark the back zone and whoever's there pick up. We all step out and he stood there going, oh fuck, I made an arse of it. I was like, obviously you've made an arse of it. What is he supposed to do? It was.
Do you know what? I've never even thought about it like that. That is crazy. And do you know what?
It's a fair call.
That would have been. It's not like a consistent thing. Somebody's made a decision in there. We're going to step out.
Yep.
It'll be somebody in the back line who's making the calls there. Probably even Gordon.
Yeah.
It's got to come from one of them, and it's catastrophic.
And you even caveat that by saying, if you were to sit down here and list all of the situations you don't want to be facing Livingston in, all of them at the top of that list are going to be throw-ins, corners, and set plays. They're massive compared to us. So I know, here's a fucking bright idea. Why don't we try and play a high line for a corner or a free kick? Why not just win the headers, win first contact, get rid of it? Do you know what I mean? We chucked them under the bus. And the second thing that really pissed me off, and it's something that pisses me off with all modern managers, we made a triple substitution to bring Gino on, Devlin off, etc. I can't remember who. Shanklin came on, Gino came on, and Peter Haring came on. Humphreys was playing up front by himself. We brought him to right wing. They didn't bring Gino on with that one, didn't they? No, they brought Gino on for Humphreys later. They brought in Shanklin, Haring, and who was the other one? Forrest.
Aye, that was it.
Forrest. So we moved Humphreys to right wing after he'd got absolutely nothing playing up front. We brought him in as a striker. He's here to be a striker. He's here to lead the line. We've fed him dog shit for 60 minutes. And then we've went, actually, go play right wing now for us. In a game we're chasing, a game we need to go play. And then 5 minutes later, took him off and replaced him with Gino. Just fucking bring Gino in. Just bring him up. Like, what is the actual point? What did we think was going to happen by putting the 6'4" striker wide right? What did we think was going to do? Was he going to skin his man, fire crosses into the box? It just didn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Anyway, there you go. There's my rant about stupid modern substitutions. Bring 4 of them on. We could have changed off 5 at half-time. Wouldn't have made a difference. But we absolutely... And you know what Hearts fans are like. You already seen it on Twitter. Folk writing him off, saying he's shite. He's had a terrible debut at a terrible venue, playing in terrible tactics and a terrible team. He's now probably going to have to come on and play in Europe on Thursday in what could potentially be a beating, and come Saturday when he's got a game where he could actually score some goals and build his confidence, they're going to be on the flare because he's going to have played in 2 absolute shit shows. So, terrible man management, I'm afraid, for a new boy that came in.
I love this, man. I love this. See, if you think back to like fucking 2 years ago, 18 months ago, well, sorry, 2 years ago when we started this, when we were just a bunch of miserable motherfuckers. We're back to type, and I fucking love it. Look at you. Your wee smile, Corbett, is absolutely lighting up my fucking life tonight. It's amazing.
It was funny because I know, like, with Tam changing his mind like the weather, Brad's fucking thought he was watching 1996 Livingston with the players he was fucking getting abuse to. I just sit in silence being like, this is the most Hearts thing ever. Like, it was the same on Wednesday when me, Shanks and Tam watched They cut away. As soon as Kelly scored, I could have got up and went home because I was like, I've seen this story way too many times, and it's no happening.
That's exactly why
We
I
do
only
need to-
seen you boys for 45 minutes on Saturday,
That
because
is why you went
I
home.
went home. It was a long fucking trip for me. I was like, no, I'm out. The day is not going to get any better than this. Fuck it.
Aye. I only stayed because Livingston is the only away day I can go to where I can go to the pub before it and then get sent to Aldi after it to get messages. So I was like, right, I'm staying for the full 90 minutes because my day consists of greeting about Hearts and got to buy fucking German yogurt. What the fuck it is. So, right, everybody that doesn't want to hear blasphemy against Craig Gordon, turn this off right now. We need to talk about Craig Gordon is the best football player at Hearts, right? He's the best thing to happen to Hearts for 10 years. I love Craig Gordon to bits. We've got to talk about his distribution, whether it be kicking, these stupid catch the balls and runs to the 18-yard box. And I don't know if it's just an age thing, if it's his body or whatever. The amount of times he doesn't come, and Brad's resident goalkeeper, that he doesn't come or at least show and make himself available for headers back to him, for pass backs or whatever, it causes us problems. We've seen it against Ross County, that sort of hesitancy to come. The goal on Wednesday, I have no idea what him and Mikey Smith think is happening with that header. And on Saturday, although he made two superb saves, one of them obviously was offside, but it was an outrageous save. There's just something about him just now where he just doesn't seem to be his confident self, or am I just being too harsh?
No, I think it's a fair assessment. I think, and I'm not going to question his professionalism because we know how good he is. But for anybody, and I mean any player, for complacency not to fall in.
Mm-hmm.
When you're not being pushed for your position, when you're not being challenged for number one, whether that could be any position now, if you're not being challenged for centre back, Boyce for a while wasn't being challenged up front. That's fuck all. Like, it happens. And I think now that Xander Clarkson, I think he'll need to have a wee rocket up his arse. But I'm the same as you. If you sit next to me every week, you'll hear me moaning about his distribution. This is the exact same things that every single goalkeeper, but couldn't kick the ball for shit. And every single time we'll turn over possession, or try and go route one when he's got two passes on either side of him. I'll just never understand that in possession. I don't know about the age thing. I just think it's maybe a nervousness of kicking, so he doesn't want to come forward for it, doesn't want to show for it. So, it's fair to call out criticism when it's required, I think.
Ando.
This isn't a new thing, right? So Craig Gordon's distribution has never been top of the market. It's never been superb, right? He's always had a problem with it. Even go back to his first stint, for those of us that are old enough to remember it, his distribution has never been brilliant. And the second point where you're talking about, like, he is a absolutely phenomenal shot stopper. We know that. We love him for it. But one of the criticisms that was levelled at him at Celtic, and I do tend to agree with it. Two of my Celtic mates whose name I'm not going to mention because they're fannies and they don't deserve the airtime. I've always said that his command of his own area, whether it be from set plays, cross balls, corners, etc., absolutely needs work. It was the one big thing missing from his game. So I think he's not perfect. He is brilliant. He absolutely is brilliant. He's best keeper in Scotland, but there are still a lot of elements that he needs to improve on. But it's too late for him now. It's like he's on the spin down. He's never going to get any better at these things. We've just got to put up with it now.
I don't know if it's maybe the same conversation that we're going to have with Barry McKay, is that we obviously hold Craig Gordon to a standard that is absolute sky high because he's a world-class goalkeeper, right? That's not what I'm saying right now. We're not saying drop him or whatever. He's just the start of this season compared to where he's been, where we've seen him, etc. It's even a tiny mistake by his standards. You think, whoa, fuck's he done that for? Like, do you know what I mean? Because he is absolutely superb, and it's one of these tactics. We'll talk about it when we talk about the Livy game, but Kingsley and Lewis Nielsen made the most passes for Hearts on Saturday. Third was like Craig Gordon. or something. It's clearly a tactic that we play. We were joking about it at the stadium. Boy that listened to the podcast, Scott, sits up next to us up the back of Section G. He makes jokes about it all the time. Pass it back to Gordon. Gordon's open when we're like in the 18-yard box or whatever. And how many times did I fucking grab your arm on Saturday, Brads, and be like, well, I fucking throw in at the Lothian DIY side. It's at Craig Gordon. It's like, we were 15 yards for their byline, and it's back at Craig Gordon. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? Every throw in goes backwards.
What was the one where was Peter Harron in line with the penalty spot and turned around and fucked and fired it back 40 yards to the halfway line? Then it went back to left back with Gordon. I'm like,
Aye, it was literally Alan Forrest ran at them, got jinked past two, try to put a ball in, it ricocheted back to Peter Harron, he beat his man and fired it back to Lewis Nielsen, who was 25 yards away from Craig Gordon. So what are you doing? You're in the 18-yard box. But aye, and it's the same with Barry McKay, right? Barry McKay is the best Hearts player that we have, right? The guy's absolutely phenomenal, and we probably do hold him to a much higher standard than we would George Grant, for example, who contributed absolutely nothing. But see, games like Saturday, I think that the more things don't happen for us, the harder he tries. The more like he tries outrageous passes, no-look passes, World Cup diags. He tries to beat a man and then beat another man and then beat another man. And like the things that make Barry McKay amazing is he does like a wee burst of something and then plays the easy pass or plays the sensible pass or can pick one of those passes. But on days like Saturday, where nothing's happening for us and everything relies on his shoulders, because we just spoke about it there, and I've got some stats when we get into the Livy game about just how resilient on the left-hand side of the park we were, which meant we completely and utterly kept Barry McKay out the game, which is why his average positions were pretty much like beside Humphreys in the middle of the park. He just, I don't know, there's something about him just now where we clearly aren't clicking, and the harder he tries, the sort of more, no mistakes that he makes, but like the more sort of times he will give the ball away, or the people aren't on the same wavelength as him, so his passes go out to play and stuff. I'd quite like to just see him maybe just be a wee bit more simple, like take the simple pass give.
I found that the biggest thing on Saturday, with regards to firstly going on to Gordon, the amount of times that he actually got the ball played to his right foot. We all know that Gordon's left-footed. There was a number of times, and you look back to the St Johnstone game where he made the mistake, and the boys actually cleared it. He's actually he's hit it with his right foot, no his left. So there's instances of that, but that should be something that would be effectively called out on the first day of training. If you've never played with him before, you shouldn't, he should be telling you that. But his distribution has been shocking of late. But the element in regards to Barry McKay was he was towards probably the 68 minutes onwards. He just had this, I need to get more involved, because nothing was coming off for him. So he gets himself more involved. He then becomes that sort of number 10 where he's just moving around the park, looking for things to work for him. And with, as you rightly say, a number of times trying something that was just maybe just not on the same wavelength as others that were on the park. And the unfortunate element is that we don't actually have a number of people who are actually on the same wavelength as McKay at the moment.
Aye. And look, the criticism isn't that he does that, right? Because you look at the pass for Shankland at Hibs, etc. Look at where he cuts inside against Dundee United and fires it in the bottom corner. The criticism is that, Humphreys should be making that run. Shankland should be in that space. Haring should be overlapping and try to get on these balls. But when it's no happening and it hasn't happened, that's when it's like, right, a bit of common sense has to come into play here, that there isn't going to be anybody in that channel. There hasn't been anybody in that channel all game, but Cammy Devlin's 5 yards in front of you. Give him the ball, get a give and go, or play it out wide to Gino, who's actually standing there. Play that, like, it's that sort of thing where you see him drifting, and instead of the easier options, he's looking to like do the slide rule pass. He's looking to do a no look pass. It's like, I get it, it's fine, but these guys are not on your level. You're trying to pass the ball to Gary McKay-Stephen. Like, he's shat the bed 25 minutes ago. Like, he's not wanting the ball anymore. So, there, we've said it.
Totally agree.
They're our best players, 100%. Nobody go mental on Twitter. They're the best players in Hearts jerseys. We get it, but because their standards are so sky high that when they even drop a level, it feels like they've went down a notch, which is worrying.
You know what
Because
this
when
sounds?
they two don't, when they don't show, we don't show, don't they?
Sorry, I thought it was on mute. I was going to say, one of the things that this sounds a little bit like is them. You used to bang on about it when Arfield was at the early days of his Rangers career. It's like he would be putting balls through and doing things that nobody else could see. Almost feels like that a wee bit, but it's
It's one of the things I used to batter Mikey Stewart for it all the time, but then Mikey Stewart used to be in the right. You could tell that Mikey Stewart had played and came through the ranks at Man United and was used to playing with
just
Paul Scholes and Beckham and these guys because their passes were
next
they
level.
would have been there.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? But you're up in Scotland, you're playing with dog and duck players. You have to sometimes cater your game to that. We kind of touched on loads of the stuff there, but we are in probably, well, we went for a little sticky spell last year where I think we lost or failed to win 5 in a bounce. We've got 1 win in our last 6. Again, if we're going to be overly dramatic, then you can use those stats to beat us, but you have to caveat that way. One of those losses is at home to Celtic. This is Monday night when we're recording this. I putting out that I think Celtic will beat Real Madrid tomorrow. Like that's the level that they're playing at right this very second. So we can't beat us for losing, and we put the B side out. And 2 of them have happened in Europe where, let's be honest, anything like that can happen in Europe. But it is quite worrying. If you go back to, like I said on Twitter, we bounced into the split 9 undefeated. We bounced out of it with 1 win and 6. You add that right now, we've got 4 wins in our last 15 since the semi-final. Hibs. It's pretty worrying stuff, isn't it?
It is, and it's a shame that we all spoke about it at the time. Like you can say that he didn't need to win any of the last 6 games, but momentum's a key feature, and momentum's a key feature for diving into cup finals, for taking into your next season, for running into your pre-season. It all adds up, and if you've got all this complacency falling in, or if you've got bad habits dropping in, they'll continue over until you get into your next competitive games. So I think it is concerning our form, because other than the Dundee United game, we've been relatively pish in every other game. Poor against Hibs, poor against not necessarily poor against Celtic. We contained them for a while, but we didn't do anything in that match. We didn't challenge them really. Piss poor against Kilmarnock, piss poor against Livy. That is concerning, and I think Thursday will be a real test, and I think we'll put out a really strong team, and then I think we'll struggle against a probably informed St Mirren squad as well. So it is a bit of concern for me what's going on just now. Don't know what the solution is really.
Aye. St Mirren got beat 3-0 at the weekend, so I'm not too bothered about them. But you're right. It's and Kev, this is something that I'm not going to level it at Robbie, right? Because this is a modern manager phenomenon, right? Where they see Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, for example, make 11 changes to their side, and I'm like, right, sound, but they've spent £250 million or something like that on that side. You're looking and bringing on Ewan Henderson and Connor Smith and Gary Mackay-Steven and Josh Ginnelly. Like we take the flow, and it was the same. We were on a massive high when we beat Hibs. We beat them the week before, we beat them the week after, and we had 2 or 3 injuries in that game, and we made wholesale changes. Thinking, right, we have to be in protective mode for the cup final. Like, let's start giving other players a chance, etc. And it just ripped the momentum. And the worst thing is that you then make excuses. So, like, we beat Dundee United, I think, in the first game of the split, and then we end up drawing with Ross County at home in a terrible 0-0. And then you get beat off somebody else. We get beat off Motherwell, and it's like, that's fine. We've got the cup final. It's all about the cup final. And now in hindsight, it's like, what did we think was going to happen?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? We stumbled into a cup final in terrible form.
And it's just continued on. You've got to also be look at certain things, especially about Saturday's game. Why did Forrest no start? Forrest played on that pitch all last season. He knows the surface. You talk about it being the worst park in Scotland, although it's now probably as bad as Kilmarnock's. But anyway, why not actually start him? I think that was, I think that's a strange decision. But at the end of the day, we've got to try and build players back up. There's too many players, I think, at the moment that have got no confidence. Whereas when you go back to that spell where we were winning 6, 7, 8 games in a row, the guys all had loads and loads of confidence. You could see it on Saturday that there was a lot of players had no confidence, and from the back of that, they didn't want the ball, especially in difficult circumstances or difficult positions on the park. And that's why we continuously went backwards. Gino at one point was standing on the halfway line with a massive big load of gap in front of him. The ball could be quite easily played, but he doesn't have the confidence to go and look at that particular that part of the ground. And it's just, what do you do? How do you actually build the confidence back up? Because Thursday night's game is definitely not going to be a confidence builder, that's for sure.
Aye, it is a strange one. It's a hard one to balance, because we spoke before that the league is the priority, but obviously we were so I'm going to say tantalisingly close to the Europa League. I'm glad we're not in it now when you see the group that Zurich got, but we were very close to that, and given the fact that Zurich weren't great. But here's one for you, Ando. Is everybody connected with Hearts? Have we over-egged the whole Thursday-Sunday thing? Because it's no halfway through the season. It's the start of the season. We've not really played the group stages of the League Cup or whatever. We've not had an extensive pre-season. Have we kind of made a rod for our own back almost and over-egged the importance of squad rotation in the early part of the season?
Difficult one to answer. I think when you say we, do you mean we on the podcast or like Hearts, the football team?
No, a club. A club.
I think maybe a little bit. But then in the same breath, I would say no, because in order to play, I mean, let's be honest, we could do the whole thing of prioritise the league and just send out any team on the Thursday night, right? But that we're not going to do that. It's not the way Nielsen's wired. Obviously, he's been saving his best teams for the Thursday, but I think we definitely do have a lack of depth in the squad, and over-egging it, it's a difficult one to call. We're getting found out. We're absolutely getting found out. But then I think we knew that we as a podcast knew that we would get found out when it comes to this, and I don't think the club have made enough moves to be able to counteract that. So, if anything, I reckon we've underestimated the problem, because we've found ourselves with a vulnerability now. So over-egging it, no, but we have definitely underestimated.
Brad, the reason I'm bringing that up is the fact that Robbie, after the game, said there's mental fatigueness in the squad, which it baffled me. We didn't lose the game on Saturday because of mental fatigueness. We lost the game because we lost the battle. We weren't willing to run as hard as Livingston, tackle as hard as Livingston, put our bodies on the line. It had nothing to do with mental fatigueness, in my opinion.
No, I would agree with that as well. And like you say, we've not had... Again, I don't really buy high-performance athletes not being able to play 2 games a week. I mean, kids do it on a daily basis, or a weekly basis, sorry. I mean, any other sport, you've got athletics, guys will run a midweek competition and run a weekend competition. Like, these are high-performance athletes. Should be able to play a Thursday and then potentially just play the 60 on the Saturday or the Sunday. You know what I mean? Or vice versa. I don't buy it in terms of them protecting them. However, I know what Robbie will be thinking. Every single one of the players that we've recently got injured, which were all freak accidents, all played against Zurich. They all played in the European game. So he'll be going, oh God, we played those boys, now they're out for the league. It's just that mindset. You go into that kind of protective mode. But no, I think you should be fielding your strongest team almost every game you can and rotate it in after 60, 70 minutes. That would be my thought process.
So the reason that I brought that up is obviously what we said there about Robbie's comments, but the thing that, and we're gonna have to bring it up, but Celtic literally are playing a brand of football in Scotland that we've not seen for probably forever, which is 100 miles an hour until you drop. And if you can't handle it, if you don't like it, if you can't keep up with it, you don't play. And they were the same on Saturday against Rangers. They will be the exact same tomorrow night against Real Madrid, and they will be the exact same on Saturday or whoever it is they're playing at the weekend. And I listened to Ange Postecoglou today, and I fucking hate him because it's hard to dislike him. And he basically said the exact same thing. He said, if you have to get up for an Old Firm game, you shouldn't be playing with Celtic. You have to get up for the Champions League, you shouldn't play with Celtic. Show me up, is it? They were like, oh, you can't play this formation against Real Madrid, they'll catch you out. Surely you must be worried about the risks. And he was like, show me a formation where there isn't risks. Show me tactics where it doesn't have risk. Go play your game. Give it everything that you have, and if where it gets you at the end of the game is where it gets you at the end of the game. And there we are saying that professional athletes can't play 90 minutes to their full capabilities at home versus Kilmarnock in the League Cup, and then 3 days later go to Livingston and play to the fullest of their capabilities, and then go 4 days later and play against the Ballsacks for Turkey. I just think that, and Robbie's good at it, and this isn't to say that behind closed doors he isn't putting huge demands on the players, because clearly they are. But sometimes, like, after a game, sometimes we just like Robbie to come out and chuck 1 or 2 under the bus and see what happened. See if we get a reaction at them. We've been protecting Gary McKay-Stephen for 18 months. We've been protecting Gino for 18 months. They offer us fucking nothing. They don't score off the bench. They don't impact off the bench. They don't impact when they start. Chuck them under the bus. See what they're up to. You know, put some pressure on them. See what they do. React. Show us what you're all about. Do you know what I mean? Like, he stuck up for George Grant in the press after the Zurich King, which was the right thing to do. He'd have just painted a target on his back after the penalty thing. But he didn't play for 2 games. You're telling me that he was injured. You're telling me that he didn't get fucking... You've cost us European football here by being an absolute arse. You're not playing until I decide that I've fucking no fell out with you anymore. Like, they're making excuses for that performance on Saturday, which I know he wasn't doing that, and he said that we were way below our best and you got to fight for the jersey and all that stuff. I get all that. Chuck 1 or 2 of them under the bus, because Gary McKay-Stephen was terrible on Saturday. Worst player in the park by an absolute country mile. The least touches on the park, the least attempted dribbles on the park, the least tackles, the least crosses, all of that stuff. Chuck him under the bus. What's the worst thing? He's a professional football player. So, dead easy for us to sit here and say how shite we've been and the form's terrible. What do we do to change it? They quickly ruined. If you could make 2 or 3 changes right now, Brads, what's your changes? How do we turn our form round?
In terms of bodies coming in, or in terms of what we do with Shite?
No, well, the transfer window's shut now, so the squad that we've got and the players that we have are the players that we've got.
For me, I think you're bang on. I don't see what this brings that, say, somebody like Connor Smith doesn't. Or what's the difference between the two of them? Give a shot, take boys out, drop them. I don't know if that's going to change form though, is it? I don't want to go back to changing
You've turned
shape
into Tam
every second week. That's just
You've turned into Tam.
just talking, just changing. Fuck it, don't know. Support a different team.
Kev,
That's what I'm going to do.
what would you change?
I think it's a difficult question. The one player that
Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome. The one player I thought played really well on Saturday was Andy Halliday. I think he gets a lot of sort of bad press for whatever reason. But I would say the majority of times he actually pulls on a hard shirt. He actually plays to his best. And I actually would like to see him play more in the middle of the park. I know there's been a couple of times we've had him at left back when Cochrane's been out injured or he's been suspended or whatever, or we wanted a change, they've played him at left back. I quite like him sitting in that midfield. I quite like the fact that he can see a pass, and he's also got a wee bit of grit and determination about him as well, and he wants that ability to move forward. So I would maybe look to actually start Halliday on Thursday night.
The thing with Andy Halliday, right, is exactly what you've just said there, and it's everything that's missing from a Gino and a GMS, right? Andy Halliday isn't the best player in the squad. He isn't the most capable in the squad. He's not the most talented in the squad. But you can absolutely guarantee that when he plays, he'll give you every single thing that he has. Like, every part of him will be on that park. He'll never shirk a challenge. He'll never shirk sticking up for a teammate. He'll try a shot. He'll try a pass. He never, ever stops. Whereas we watched it on Saturday, Brad's and Ando, and we'll talk about it in a wee minute. Gary McKay-Stephen started the game pretty well on Saturday. A couple of decent crosses into the box. Livingston changed shape to stop us getting wide. Gary McKay-Stephen tried to dribble, tripped up on the ball because it took a mad bobble, go up, gestured to the pitch saying how shite the pitch was, and literally stopped trying. He literally, and you listen to the Open Goal podcast or whoever, they laugh and joke about him saying that he doesn't want to play in stadiums that have got shite changing rooms. He doesn't want to play in shite parks. He doesn't want to play in this, that, and the other. That all comes because that's what he does. He'll moan about that. Like, and you're telling me that on Saturday he didn't spit the dummy and just think, fuck it, I'm not playing anymore because this pitch is shite and I'm too good for it. So anyway, that was a sidestep. Ando, what are you changing?
I think for what am I changing is Robbie's priorities. That it was as simple as that. The conversation for the last hour has been, we don't have the depth of the squad to be able to play Thursday, Sunday, whatever, right? So I think what needs to happen, there needs to be a change in priority. We're not going to get the form back where we can go and win in Europe and win in the league. Someone needs to prioritise something. So I think what you need to do is be brave, make a call that the league is your bread and butter. You need to go for it. I think you probably have to, the makeshift teams, if you want to call it that, are the ones that you have to play in Europe. Sorry, I think that's what you need to do. In order to get back there next year, we need to prioritise the league. I think for all the reasons that we've spoken about tonight, depth of squad, talent, ability, etc., etc., that's what I'd change, is the priority order of what we're going after this season. I know that's broad brush, but that's the way I see it.
No, it's right. And my thing with Saturday was, if we won, we could have went second.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it would have been joint second, but we would have been second, right? Now, Rangers have just been scudded 4-0 by their biggest rivals. They're now away to Ajax midweek in the Champions League. They then come back and play Aberdeen at the weekend. They could drop points again.
Easy.
We could have been 3 points clear. Rangers come Sunday if we did our business against St Mirren. And that's what it is. We prioritised Europe and took players out and played half fit, half match sharp players in the St Johnstone game, picked up loads and loads of injuries. And then it's like you're bringing players in and taking them out, like Shankland, self-professed, hasn't had a pre-season. He's started like 3 games or something like that for Hearts. We keep bringing him off the bench. He's going to get an injury because he's not getting up to any intensity whatsoever. Like, do you know what I mean? He's not grown into matches. He's been chucked in and saying, right, go make a difference. So he's going to come in running harder than he normally would. He's going to stretch for things he probably wouldn't get. He's going to go for challenges he normally wouldn't go for because he's eager to impress. He's going to get an injury. That's what happens. The change for me is play the strongest 11 in the league, fuck about in Europe, right? The priority for Europe's changed. Do you know what I mean? It's changed now. We said it before. Go for Europe because Zurich were shite and we could have gone into Europa League. Well, now we're in the Conference League. Let's just enjoy it. We'll get 3 amazing away days. Give the young boys a chance. Rotate the squad. Try something different. Coin it in. Exactly.
Make it rain.
Focus purely on the league, because I think whatever team can string a run of results together will run away with third again, because everybody below them will do exactly what we did last season, and they'll kill each other. You look at Aberdeen, they scored a last minute winner, so they think, against Ross County, and a minute later they concede to make it 1-1. So they had a chance to go like 2 points clear of us or whatever it was. And for Motherwell as well at home, they are against Dundee United, who are on their arse. They could have won and went further in front of us. They didn't. So I prioritise the league.
Good. I'm glad you agree with me, 'cause I thought I was going to get shagged for saying that, but never mind.
Nah. Matt, you're right. And next week when we beat the Turkish mob, I'll say, fuck the league. Let's win the Conference League.
And I'll be right behind you.
Right, and that is my choice to do so. We didn't need to dive into any great detail the games, but obviously midweek we played Kilmarnock at home, Tynecastle in the League Cup, get knocked out 1-0 from the most bog standard, stereotypical, predictable Derek McInnes team. Their goalkeeper got booked after 30-something minutes for time wasting. They came, played 4-5-1, shelled long balls up front to Innes Cameron, who must have just came back for watching the Six Nations with that fucking name, who ragdolled us all game, and we literally could be playing right now and we wouldn't score against Kelly or we wouldn't score against Livy, because it just was not happening. Brad's, I rewatched the Livingston game, the full Livingston game, because I'm sad, right? Because that guy triggered me with his thing saying that Omiyonga was brilliant. Hearts had double the passes of Livingston, made double the tackles, all the positive stats that you want for a game, but had 0 shots on target, 0 chances in the box, like literally all the zeros that you could imagine and all the bits of the game that actual matter, which is put the ball in the back of the net. Humphreys had half a chance at the start of the first half with the sort of volley, and then Grant has probably our best chance of the whole game with the cutback, and that is literally all she wrote. You're now into the territory looking at Ewan Henderson should have slid the ball into Alan Forrest near the end because he was free. You're looking at half a pass, no quite gone right, or fucking abysmal corners that I'm at the point now where our corners, they're decent. They're into the areas where you want your corners to go, but nobody fucking attacks them. No one's there. I'm like, how are you know where do you want the corner to go? It's landed between the 6-yard box and the 18-yarder, the penalty spot. Where else do you want the ball to land? Where do you think it's going to go? Somebody fucking attack it.
Typically, the two boys that would attack that are both injured now. So like you get Rolls and Halkett who's trying to stick the brain on every single one of them, but obviously, is what it is.
Brad's, Kev said something in the group chat yesterday, and he was right. But it's one of these things that people say all the time in football about, we didn't play with any width and we don't get wide. Our problem is that that's all we do. That is literally all we do until the final third. So, like I said there, if you look at the stats, go Y Scout or whatever you want to go, whatever you want to do your stats for, go on it. You'll see that 50% of all of our attacks on Saturday came down the left-hand side. I put it on Twitter. That's because we were protecting Toby Sibbick. We were so conscious that nothing could go to Toby Sibbick because he's terribly low on confidence, but he had to play. So everything we did went through Kingsley and Cochrane and then Gary McKay-Stephen. And for 15 minutes, that worked brilliant. We were getting the ball wide, we were getting balls in the box, we were playing quite well. Livingston changed formation and we just got completely and utterly run out of ideas. We get to the final third and then back to Gordon.
It's almost turned into this kind of walk it in the net mentality. The best thing I've seen about Shanks when he first came on was his instinct to shoot on sight. What is, I don't know if it's now being coached out of him. That's not how we play. There's one pass too many. Just pull the trigger. Like that keeper wasn't tested once. Did he make a single save?
No,
I don't think so. I think we barely had a shot against Kelly. And St Johnstone, we only created a couple of chances. It just has to be get into position and pull the trigger. And I don't know what the process that I think is going to happen, because it's not. And then, as Kev's rightly pointed out as well, you can pass the ball about the back all you want. If you've got players like Gino, when we're 1-0 down, walking from the halfway line when there's an acre of space in front of them just for that final ball into the box, they're just not there. There's not a desire to be chasing that last pass.
And do you know what worried me about the last 10 minutes of sequence of play, right? You've got a winger, a goal scorer, or whatever you want to call him, in Gino. And he's happy to have swapped positions with Toby Sibic. Because that's what they did. Toby Sibic went up front and Giannelli had the cover at right wing back. And he was happy to do so. That tells you everything you need to know about where his head is when it comes to being up. You score a goal, you're a hero. Go score the equaliser, you're the hero. Go score 2, you score the winner, you're the hero. No, it's fine, I'll play right wing back whilst the fucking centre back goes up and plays as a striker. That worries me more than anything. It's the exact same when we were talking about Gary McKay-Steven, is just the ability to accept that it's not happening. So I'm not even going to try. Do you know what I mean? We were screaming at Gino on Saturday with 10 minutes to go to be like, fucking take him on. Take him on. Like, if you kick it by him and chase him. Do you know what I mean? Like, just do something. But we just turned back and went back to side again. It is something that's going to have to change pretty soon, Kevin, because we just become so predictable. The thing that's really annoying, right? We actually build up play really well, right? Hearts fans hate it, and I get it, I understand why, but the whole side to side to side, it's to bring them out, it's to get them to come and engage with you and make spaces and get into good positions. In middle, like back to middle, we do that brilliantly. We get into great positions, but there's nothing there. There's no movement. There's nobody gone by. There's nobody in the channels, and that's when you see the worse than Barry McKay.
Yep, you've said it exactly that. Yes, it is boring to watch sometimes, that movement of the left-hand side to the right-hand side to the left-hand side, moving that ball around. But you're right, it's to create space elsewhere. But when you're not actually then getting somebody to run into that space, you're like, well, what's the point? There was a number of times again on Saturday with regards to GMS. He plays the pass inside and then stops. No, make the run. Go into the space. Get the ball back. No, I'll not bother my arse. And that's then the thing that then starts folk in the stands watching become really frustrated. It's because they're sitting there, they can see straight away where it is. That's what we're doing. There's a space. Actually, I've not seen you so animated in all my life on Saturday in that bit in 10 minutes where there is a massive space in front and Gino passes it back to Nielsen. I have never seen you jump so high in all your life, Neil, to be honest with you, Corbett, to give him absolute dog's abuse. But it's a case of you've made a massive big space down there, find the gap. And it wasn't going to be like, a worldly pass that Nielsen would have had to play. Didn't get me wrong, I know Nielsen and a number of other players had simple error on Saturday, and that's just, sometimes that's the way it is. But that was a simple pass. That was because the space was there. You could have got into that space, then you're asking questions of the other guys to make that run into the box. You've got Shankland on the park by that point. You've got Forrest. These are guys that are wanting to score goals. But we just did not look to actually open up and use that particular space that we created.
And there's loads of frustrating things about that, is that, again, even at fucking boys club level, we've all played it. You ask any defender, name me a scenario that you hate, every one of them will say chasing the ball down towards my own goal with somebody bearing down behind me, because they either have to be confident enough to hold the guy off and take him on and try and do it that way. They're going to have to either put it out for a corner, they're going to have to rose head it out for a throw-in. That simple. Gino gets the ball, GMS gets the ball, chip it into the channel and chase the ball down. Make them do something. Make them make a decision. And the reluctance to do it it's soul destroying. And again, Ando, we're going to have to talk about it. And we'd laughed at it with Brad's, but throw-ins. We literally rush to get the ball to throw it back towards Craig Gordon. And I'm like, you could be 15 yards for the Livingston goal and we'll throw it back. But we didn't just, and Brad's will know this because I fucking chewed his ear off about it the whole game. We throw it back, like bounce it off the ground for them, It's a plastic pitch. The ball fucking jumps that high. So instead of throwing it to their feet, they're having to fucking take a chest. So their second touch instantly is going to be either get it away or a punt over the top because they've struggled to take control of the ball. At boys' club level, you get a throw in, you're chasing it, throw it down the line because they'll win a header and header it back out and you're 15 yards down the line. Do it again till you get down to the corner flag. See where you get.
Aye.
It's just simple schoolboy stuff.
What you said just in your previous wee bit that I came back into was punt it forward, throw it forward, make them make a decision. Like, this is so fucking predictable. It happens all the time, right? It always goes back the way, right? And this cannot be lost on any other head coach or manager within the same league. It's like they know that when we get that ball in that in the tight spot, especially in the second half, the second half of the pitch, that is, that's what we're going to do. And it's fucking stupid, man. Everybody talks about like the definition of insanity. Like, you continue to do what you've always done, you'll continue to get what you've always got. Why the fuck do we do it? As you rightly say, throw it forward, put it into a danger area, make someone in the opposition make a decision, because you know what? 5 times out of 10, they'll fuck it up. 5 times out of 10, they'll win it. Possession goes back to them anyway. You've lost nothing. You've at least given them, you've given yourself an opportunity. But we don't do enough of it.
Livingston did it to us for the last 25 minutes. Whenever they won the ball back and couldn't build, they put it over Nielsen's head or Kingsley's head or Cochrane's head, Sibbick's head, and made them chase it to the corner. Noble or whatever he's called, the big guy up front, and Montano or whatever it is on the other side, they just chased it down. They just chased it down. Do you know what I mean? And blocked it and put it out for a throw in for Hearts, but we're 10 yards for your byline now rather than 60 yards into their half, etc. It's just schoolboy stuff that was really, really frustrating on Saturday and on Wednesday as well. We actually played decent on Wednesday in terms of our build-up play. We just had absolutely no cutting edge whatsoever. Our decision making in the final third was terrible. It was the exact same on Saturday. We dominated the game in possession stats. We had control of pretty much the whole game, other than the time after Livingston scored, where we just fell to bits. The game plan fell to pieces because we joked about it, Brad's, actually, but before they scored, I said to you, remember there was a similar offside, and I was like, that linesman's guessed that he was offside because of the reaction of the crowd. I watched him because he was right in front of us. He wasn't even up with play, and he wasn't looking at play because there was an off-the-ball thing, and he just put his flag up because we were all there and shouting that that's offside. And that's why we had the whole reaction to the goal, is because the linesman was just guessing what he was up to, which is soul-destroying as well.
Aye.
I can't remember what I was going to say.
The
hang fell in my foot.
See, just going back quickly to that Route 1 point, or playing into the channels, surely if you watch Celtic's performance against Dundee United, every coach in Scotland, or every coach in the world, should now be playing with that Kyogo role. Leave Shankland up there. Leave Shankland on the 18-yard box. They're going to either have to mark him and create masses of space in the middle, which you penetrate through, or they're going to have to leave him and you fire that ball into the channels. Now, as Kev and Ando have said, 5 times out of 10 you're not going to win. 5 times out of 10 you're not going to win it. But the 5 that you do, you fire it back across, and that guy's 1-on-1 with the second phase onside. How other teams haven't? I watched it. I was honestly blown away with how well they done that, and amazed that other teams aren't picking up on that, because it's so easy to do and so easy to set up. You either create masses of space in the middle, or you create masses of spaces in the channels. It's fucking so easy.
Aye, it's schoolboy stuff, and that's not to discredit. I thought Kilmarnock were shite, right, on Wednesday. Got their goal, shut up shop, did what Derek McInnes does, fine. Livingston deserved to win on Saturday. They had a couple of decent opportunities where we were miles off the pace on Saturday. That's not to try and discredit Livingston. Livingston did what Livingston do. Do you know what I mean? They fought for everything, never gave up. They gave everything that they had. The players were limping off, gone down with cramp, etc., because they were literally never stopped running, never stopped harrying us. It's not trying to make excuses. Sometimes, and this is the big thing that we say all the time, and I said it after Saturday, We're Hearts fans. It's what fucking happens, right? We get beat. We're no entitled. We don't think that we should be winning every single week. But there's a manner to get beat, right? We get beat off Zurich. You take that in the chin. For 60 minutes, we were fucking superb. Then a decision breaks the game. There's nothing you can do about it. They run up the park and score while we're chasing the game with 10 men, right? That's football. That's what happens, right? But Livingston on Saturday was not acceptable in any way, shape, or form. We were nowhere near our best, but not only that, we never did the basics right. We never got stuck in, and that's disappointing. So the good news is that we've only got fucking European football to worry about on Thursday. We've got Istanbul Bawsackhair. Does anybody know anything about them other than that they're like 2 points off the top of the league and they've been beaten like fucking 8 games or something?
22 unbeaten.
22 unbeaten. Oh, good.
They won the game at the weekend against Antalyaspor. That's all I can tell you.
And their manager's not allowed to actually take the field. So,
there you go.
Yep, there we go. That's all you need in regards to them.
I think it's difficult to see how we have a Zurich type performance when the confidence will be like rock bottom, if I'm being honest with you. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's different from when we bounced into the home Zurich game. Obviously, we'd been beat off Celtic or whatever, but we played the B team. We knew we weren't going to win. We never went there to win. It was like whatever happens type thing. But we've went out to win the game on Wednesday versus Kelly and been beat. We've went out to win the game on Saturday and been beat. I just didn't see how we raise it for Thursday, if I'm being absolutely brutally honest with you. 5:45 kickoff as well. I can't see it being bouncing myself.
Unless you're taking a half day.
I think you're right. The only thing that we could do to even influence that game on Thursday would be to carbon copy Tam 18,500 times and get everybody in there happy clapping and like be the 12th man. It's like I know we're talking about prioritising the league and all that sort of stuff, and I absolutely stand by that. But again, European nights in the Gorgie, they're absolutely fantastic. Everybody, all of us included, no matter how fucking raging and depressed we are just now, we'll turn up there on Thursday and give it the bellows. We just will. That might be enough to get the players on the park G'd up and kicked on and maybe snatch something early. But again, with everything that was spoken about, like in the entirety of the last 2/3/4 games, is probably going to come back to haunt us. The only thing we can do is go out there and fucking try and hit them early. That's it.
Right. Let's go. We've fucking depressed the life out of everybody already. Let's just depress them even more by doing predictions for Istanbul and St Mirren. So, Kev, give your prediction.
I don't see a change in our fortunes. Definitely not on Thursday night, that's for sure. So for Thursday, I can see it being a 3-1 defeat. However, on Sunday, I think against St Mirren, who they're probably just as topsy-turvy as we are. No one ever thought I'd say that word.
Fucking hope you
I
never would.
am going to go with. I'm going to go 2-1 because I don't think we can keep a clean sheet at the moment.
13 games in a row or something like that, isn't it? We're not kept a clean sheet, our worst run since admin year. Crazy. Ando.
Rubber bed sheets everywhere. It'll be a 3 or a 4-0 defeat to Bawsackhair on Thursday, and I reckon we'll lose by the odd goal in the next league game as well. There you go.
Nice. Luckily, that isn't your bed that you're wetting, so you can say that.
For me, I am going Hearts 0, Istanbul 3, and then it'll be a 1-1 on Sunday.
Love your optimism there for Sunday.
Okay. Fuck it, I'll go opposite. Turkish team didn't travel well. 2 each, right? two each on Thursday, and Hearts will win comfortably against St Mirren at home on Sunday.
Right, intervention. Someone phone his missus because he is clearly back on the baby.
There you go. That's my prediction. Right, Kev. As if the night couldn't get any worse. let's get the answers to your
No worries, no worries. So the first one for this week was birthday for Cruikshank tribute in Slovak. So that was the 4 clues. I love again, Brad's, your face is absolutely superb here. Who do you think it is?
Well,
It's Marion Kello.
well,
It's his birthday
What was
today.
It's his
what's
birthday
the
today.
4 for?
That's how many seasons he was with. He was for 4 seasons.
I was trying to think of.
And he was in goals for the Cruikshank
was.
tribute, wasn't he?
Saved a
I was
penalty that
thinking
day as well.
Only Slovenian players that we had.
He did.
I had I put down Struna.
If he ever comes up in any of these particular ones, shoot me.
Classic.
And the second one was the 4 clues was Cochrane, Academic, the original Caviar, and 69. Corbett?
I don't know. You've hinged me because I think John Cahoon, because he's academic, because he's quite an intelligent guy. Caviar. Or it could be someone like Alan McLaren or something, because he was Caviar too. But I don't know. I'll let some other people
Ando,
guess.
any ideas?
I'll guess Alex McDonald.
Ooh, interesting. So it was.
Is it
Oh,
Tosh
God.
McKinley?
Oh, no.
Okay.
That's never happening. Never happening. It was David Weir. Cochrane, as it was his little nugget to Nielsen to take him on loan. Academic, as he was given a scholarship over in the States to play football and be over there. He was the original Caviar as a centre half. And 69 Scotland clubs. So there you go.
My only thing was, like, Cochrane, first name Alex.
Yep.
I started thinking immediately of Alex's, and then original Caviar, like, see when Hearts were good, when I was wee, Alex McDonald. I don't know. I couldn't figure in the academic of the 69. The first one, not a clue. I'd absolutely pissing into the wind with that. Had not a clue.
There we go.
So
There we go.
let's put this feature right in the bin, because there's no way I'm winning it.
There we go.
Right. Cool. Right, boys. We'll see you Sunday night. Everybody, see you at the Shandon on Thursday for the game. Aye. See you later, boys.
Bye for now.
Gorgero.